All right, everyone, we've got a Gaza update, of course. Netanyahu the other day, link in the description, not archived, of course, and coming out, it's a little video clip. Netanyahu saying in no uncertain terms that the state of Israel is effectively taking over management of Gaza for an indefinite period. Why do I get the feeling that that's meant to be completely open-ended, and it's not like indefinite, like, hey, we got a certain number of goals we got to achieve and then we'll leave. So much as indefinite as in, well, we're never actually going to leave at all. That's what it sounds like when you talk about them, openly proclaiming a week ago that they intend to create a secure zone within Gaza, so this on the Palestinian side of the border. And the idea is that it'd be like, I guess, a no-go zone or something that Israel would be technically occupying, like they would bomb anyone that came into the zone or something like that. There's really, I don't think there's much hope for Gaza being restored to any sort of long-term norm. Not that it was, particularly a happy place to be before Gaza was reliant upon the outside world for basically everything. You got over 2 million people in a very small area of land, much of which is, just a big chunk of concrete, basically. Not terribly arable land as well in some, parts of the Middle East. You have desert, effectively. It's steppe. It's rockiness and shit like that. Israel has now taken over complete management of Gaza, effectively saying they've cut the strip in half. They control a wide swath of it. And Hamas is still fighting. So IDF forces are still getting hit by them. There's rockets being fired off and things like that. Fighting's not going to end for a long time. The problem is it's not entirely clear, again, how you can ever normalize without maybe like regime change in the state of Israel. So, maybe one of the main parties says, okay, enough is enough, and Netanyahu and his people refuse, and then they lose in an election or something like that, and then a withdrawal happens or some sort of negotiation. The problem is that after what Hamas did that triggered the war, which is their incursion into Israel, killing 1,500 people, and continuing to fight now, the Israeli population gets scared. They're more likely to vote for the hardliners than they are for a party that softens its approach with regard certainly to Hamas or even Palestine in general. And so it's a sort of a losing situation for all sides because Israel's going to get dragged into an occupational situation, and those don't typically work too well. And you also end up making more Hamas members when you're blasting families and destroying infrastructure. And I mean, imagine, like 5 years old or something, and the seeming calm of before has been truncated into all-out war now. And your home's gone, your school's gone, a bunch of your friends are gone, etc. It probably makes you more likely to sympathize with Hamas. It's just the long and short of it. Israel has lost the propaganda plot at this point, even outside of the area. Look at what's happening in the United States right now. And sure, they censored Rashida Tlaib for her comments with regards to the hospital bombing. Again, she continuously chose to repeat a debunked story as though it were still true. Although some of her comments ultimately are correct. It's like, hey, over 10,000 people have been killed. Now is the time to think about maybe a solution that doesn't involve massacring people. Maybe this is the wrong thing to be doing and we shouldn't be involved in the manner that we are. I actually agree with that. The problem is that the people that are saying that by and large are gung-ho for Hamas. So I can't really, you look at the anti-war protests going on right now. While a lot of the people there are just like, hey, cut out the fighting, they want a ceasefire, they want negotiations to proceed, that is counterbalanced by people that are pushing for the same ceasefire for an entirely different reason. And the Israelis also technically do have a point, and ironically this comes even from some neoliberals, like namely fucking Hillary Clinton of all people, saying this, that effectively a ceasefire allows Hamas to reorganize. Well, technically it's true. Also, with a physical occupation, it's a little bit different. The IDF is necessarily going to have to defend itself against Hamas at all times anyway, because they're on Palestinian soil. I don't know that when there's a physical incursion there, you can really have a ceasefire. So both sides have a point. Both sides are butchering one another's civilians, and it's like, kind of just a general loss for everyone in the world. It's like, they should hang their heads in shame for failing their own people, but The Israeli government and the de facto Palestinian government aren't very good at self-reflection, as is standard in underdeveloped parts of the world. And so, yeah, they've decided to, and this is Netanyahu's words, they've decided they're going to govern Gaza now for however long it takes to, again, achieve an entirely open-ended series of mission statements, which could change with a new administration anyway. Netanyahu could end up wildly unpopular and have to resign. And then all of a sudden, the IDF's like, okay, we control 90% of Gaza, there's one stronghold left, and then at the last moment they withdraw or something. And like a Vietnam occupation situation. This is the other problem. Occupation is different from, you're defending on your own soil. Typically, the occupying force is at a disadvantage unless they have an overwhelming superiority. Israel has more manpower. It certainly has more toys that go boom. But Hamas has a decent number of people and can always recruit more endlessly because Israel is currently bombing people, and so their family members are more likely to take up arms in the name of jihad. Then, you got to keep in mind, Israel's also having to deal with Hezbollah and with the Houthis in Yemen, of all people. So they're getting it on all sides, and the Syrians at some point could get pissed. They could get involved. It's not beyond Assad's capabilities to divert some troops and resources to Israel, although could be tenuous. There are still Islamo-fascists around there trying to unseat them too, and it would make Syria look like it's siding with a group that, they don't 100% necessarily ideologically align with, and Assad doesn't want the problem. I don't know what's going to happen in the end. I suspect it will continue to be very bloody for a very long time. So Netanyahu has decided effectively to at least temporarily annex the Gaza Strip. So this is his open statement to the world. Yeah, we're taking over management of it. It sounds more like you're taking over ownership of it than anything else. I don't know how wise strategically in the end it's going to be. That's about all. Peace out.